Scrubmas Day 3. Yes, I'm in the same outfit as yesterday, and actually every single one of these intros for the first 5 days are actually filmed at the same time. So what's the third day's Scrubmas formula? Stocking of truth. Ta-da! It's a mint chocolate sugar scrub. Again, this one is pretty beginner friendly. So let's get into it. The mint chocolate chip sugar scrub, I think you guys are gonna love it. Make sure you have a heat safe mixing bowl and you want to add in the cocoa butter. You can use a different butter, but the scrub won't be as hard. And then I added in some ritamulse SCG. You could use emulsifying wax NF instead. And then I added in some Cetyl Alcohol. And lastly, a liquid oil. You can use olive oil, sunflower oil, almond oil, whatever oil you like. And then go ahead and grab your water bath, fill a pan with a little bit of water, put it on medium heat, and place your bowl in and let everything melt. So the cocoa butter ended up adding these like weird flakes on the top. I've never seen cocoa butter do this. I don't know if because mine, the one I'm using, is kind of older, but whatever. It didn't end up affecting the final scrub. So if yours does this, just ignore it. It doesn't really affect anything. So go ahead and remove the bowl from heat once everything is melted. And again, I think you can see those cocoa butter chunks better here. If any of you guys know what that is, let me know because I've never seen that happen. I don't work with cocoa butter much. Normally I use shea butter. But anyway, once this cools just a bit, you can go ahead and add in the sugar. I'm using white granulated sugar, and literally this looks just like applesauce. I didn't notice this when I was making it until I was watching it back just now. Anyway, once that solidifies a bit, you can put it in the fridge or like the freezer. If you put it in the freezer, it will get way too hard like mine did, and it will be really hard to mix because that's what happened because cocoa butter gets really hard. And again, I don't work with it much, so I'm just like not used to it. So yeah, yours will get really hard if you use cocoa butter. So maybe use a bit less cocoa butter maybe, but or shea butter. But then again, if you don't use the cocoa butter, you won't get that chocolatey scent. So maybe like use less ritamulse SCG or Cetyl Alcohol. That should help. But anyway, set that to the side and grab another container with the Optiphen. This is the preservative. And go ahead and add in teal mica powder. I'll link down below to some similar mica powder down below. And then I added in the Peppermint Essential Oil. And between the peppermint and the cocoa butter, that's where you get the like mint chocolatey scent. And you can go ahead and pour that in your bowl with the scrub and everything and mix everything together. You can use a hand mixer or you can use your hands, whichever is easier. And make sure this is also when you add in the vitamin E. So at this time, just make sure everything is well combined. And again, this is a pretty hard scrub because of that cocoa butter. So it'll be hard to mix with a hand mixer. It'll probably be easiest to do it just with your hands. And again, if you want this to be less hard, remove some of the ritamulse SCG or Cetyl Alcohol and that'll make it softer. So yeah, I just kept mixing and mixing to get a nice soft consistency. And this is when I added in the poppy seeds. So I added in poppy seeds to give that chocolate chip effect. It was the best thing I could think of. If you can think of something that you have to add like a little chocolate chip effect, go ahead and do that. Don't use real chocolate chips, but what I had was poppy seeds and that worked the best. I made space for 1% poppy seeds in this formula, but I didn't end up adding that many. I felt like it was too much, so just use your own judgment and sprinkle in until you have enough. And yeah, make sure it's all well combined and let it sit until the next day. And I should have actually jarred it up that day because the next day, look how freaking hard this was. It was so hard to scoop. What I ended up having to do is go through and mix it up with my hands because the heat from my hands helps soften it a bit. So when you go and use the scrub in the shower, it should be fine because the heat from the shower will soften it and then also your hands. But yeah, I just needed to go through, soften it all up with my hands before I added it in my jars. So again, should I say it one more time? Use less ritamulse SCG or less Cetyl Alcohol to make this softer because you want to keep the cocoa butter in it because you want that chocolatey scent. Unless you don't care and you have like a chocolate fragrance oil, then you can use that instead. But yeah, here I am just showing you how it scoops once it's softened because it does end up actually looking like actual ice cream. And that was the goal. I wanted this to be a harder scrub because I wanted it to look like ice cream, but it ended up being a little bit too hard. And this is Scrubmas, so we don't get to fix mistakes. You guys are just seeing them. But yeah, I will have this jar linked down below, along with all the tools and like equipment I use will be linked down below, along with the formula and recipe. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. This is also, you know, kids can make it beginner friendly, but I did add a preservative in this one. So if water gets in this scrub, it's fine. as for the scrubs before, you got to make sure you use a scoop and don't get water in them. Also, by the way, this scrub is really easy to pack up with your hands, so if you don't want to use a scoop, do it that way. Also, don't forget to go over and check out my Patreon, where I post 2 exclusive videos every single month. So there is a ton of videos you can go over there and binge watch. For only $5 a month, you get access to the entire backlog. And for $10 a month, you can get a shout out for your small business. So let's shout everybody out. Nature's Farm Girl, Let's Blend LLC.com, Stardust Bath and Body over on Instagram, HempyGirl.com, ShopLevi's.com, Owl and Lily over on Etsy, EmbraceBeautyEssentials.com, Legendary Bath and Body, Astari Apothecary, Revega Cosmetics here on YouTube, ExoreBB.com, Pardo Naturals, Natural State Skin, thenaturein.us.ca, nearcatelier.com. You can use the code on the screen for 20% off, earthandambernaturals.com, Shark City Naturals, and the rest of these companies are launching soon. skinbydavu.com, 7th House and Oak over on Etsy, at Black Petal Beauty on Instagram, and mycrownandglowery.com. Thank you guys so much for your support. Literally without the Patreon, I would not be able to continue doing what I do. You guys literally sponsor every single video, so thank you guys so much.